But the special thing about leadership is when you make those efforts, when you make those connections, when you do those hard things, trying to figure out why someone who's not like you at all suddenly is kicking butt and taking names, that is why we do what we do.
Chad Peterman here, and you are listening to Can't Stop the Growth, a platform for leaders and teams to grow and thrive. We highlight the importance of personal development, pursuing greatness, and always chasing your potential. Let's get into it.
Today we are going to talk about the next law, which comes after intuition, which is the law of magnetism. So the law of magnetism states who you are is who you attract. So let's think about that. So one of our core values here is lead ourselves. So we know that the level of leader that we show up as is oftentimes who we're going to attract. So what I want you to do to kind of start this off is think about the people that you lead, the people on your team, the people that you are responsible for growing and developing and making sure that they have what they need. If you had to think about the qualities, if you could recruit and have on your team the perfect person to lead, what qualities would they have? Think about that for a minute. What qualities would these people have? What do you find important that someone should have on your team? So there's probably a few thoughts that are going through your head, is my guess. Because when I did this exercise, there were a few thoughts going through my head, right? When we think about the qualities that we would like to have, who do we think about first? The people that don't have these qualities, right? Like, oh God, that guy's an ass, or whatever it may be. We think about the people that don't have the qualities that we want, right? That's human nature, right? They're not like what I want. The second thing you're probably thinking, or the second thing that you're probably relating to these qualities is, what are they? They're qualities that you probably have, right? Because the qualities that we have as individuals are the ones that we rank as the highest priority, right? That's who we are. It's not like, well, I'm a real go-getter, but, that quality really sucks. I don't really want that in anybody, right? And so with the law of magnetism, what we have to be careful of is trying to make everybody like us, right? Because if you looked at your team, if you've got a team of 15, you're probably thinking, well, 6 of them don't have the qualities that I want. In fact, they have a quality that's the exact opposite of what I would want. So what do I do with this person? Should we just fire them? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. The thing about the qualities that you're thinking about and those people that may not have them on your team, do you think, if you listed out 3 of them, do you think that they would agree, even though they don't exhibit those, do you think that they would agree that those are important? My guess is yes. If you put as one of your qualities hardworking, do you think someone is literally going to look you in the face and be like, if you ask them, do you think this is a good quality to have in a person? No. You can be real lazy, that seems to get things done. No, they're not going to say that. So if we know these are the qualities that I want, I have people on my team that exhibit those, I have people on my team that maybe don't, but collectively, we probably all agree that whatever we put down, and there's tons of qualities, right? But more than likely, I'm guessing you're going to put 3 qualities that everyone would agree are good things to have. So therein lies the problem. Therein lies the true challenge of leadership. Because if everybody agrees, but not everybody's doing, whose responsibility is it to get everybody doing? That would be us. That would be you as the leader. And that's the tough part. It's really easy to look at somebody and be like, don't get it. Never going to make it. Yep. Well, who is that a reflection of? If you and that person would agree on the qualities needed to be successful, then that may be on you. And that may seem overwhelming, right? How in the world am I ever going to get this person to buy into what we're preaching and what we're doing and all of that? But we're going to get into that. Maxwell says, the law of magnetism, it is not determined by what you want, but who you are. Not by what you want. I want everybody to wake up early. I want everybody to be hardworking. I want everybody to move with a sense of urgency. Guess what that gets me? Nothing. I can want it all day long. But at the end of the day, it's who I show up as to the people that I lead that is truly going to move people forward. And that's the hard part. Because it's easy just to sit back and want it, right? I told him to get up early, and I've told him, but he just ain't listening. There is a component of the law of magnetism, which is lead ourselves. We have to, that's understood, right? We've talked about it for weeks. I've got to be a better leader. I've got to be working on myself. I got to be coming to this. I got to be reading outside. I got to be doing all of these things to set myself up to be a good leader. The law of magnetism is where I feel like it gets hard, right? We can understand all of the other laws, the law of respect, the law of intuition, all of these things, we can understand it. But when it comes to the law of magnetism, it is not we will attract the people that are like us. You're not going to. If you attracted somebody that was just like you, wouldn't they just be in your position? You are in your position because you are special. Because you've taken the qualities and you're willing to lean into them and you're willing to do all of those things. I've had this conversation with a number of people who may have taken a new leadership role, maybe leading a different group or whatever, and it's, well, I just don't understand why they won't do what I'm saying. They're not going to. You have to work at that. You have to work to become the magnet that attracts them. And unfortunately, as leaders, you've got to be a little bit different magnet for everybody on your team. It's not as easy as saying, well, I would just like to attract the people that think like me. Good luck. You know what makes it even harder in this industry? Maxwell doesn't write about this because he's not writing about it for the trades, but at the end of the day, a lot of our team members have to have a certain skill. They've got to be able to do the work, which throws another wrench in it because guess what? There's only a certain group of people that can do the work. And that group isn't getting any bigger. It's actually getting smaller. So what that tells me is that we have an obligation to become better leaders so that we can get a wider set of that group on our team and performing. You guys may have the toughest leadership job. I'm biased, but it's got to be one of the tougher ones in any industry. Because they've got to be able to do the work. Now, we found different ways around that. Top Tech is a great place. Yeah, Top Tech, when we go to recruit these guys and gals, guess what? So, tell me about your experience. I have none. Okay, cool. Next person. Tell me about your experience in the trades. I have none. That's why I'm here. Okay, cool. Well, then we can over-index in what their character is. Do they have these qualities? Different things like that. Well, if we're recruiting someone who has 7 years of electrical experience or 10 years of plumbing experience, guess what? We've got to work really, really hard to be the magnet that they're going to buy into. I've heard so many positive things over late, and a lot of those positive things are given with the words, we had a breakthrough. We're going to really work with this guy. We're struggling, but we're sitting down with him. We're meeting. We're hopping in the truck with him. We're trying to understand what he's doing. Like, that is trying to be the magnet for that person. Because guess what? You don't need to hop in the truck with every guy you got, right? Most guys the guy's killing it. Like, you may hop in the truck to see what the hell he's doing right so you can share it with everybody else, but you don't need to hop in the truck with everybody. You don't need to have a breakthrough with some guys. Because those qualities that you're looking for, those qualities that you know will make them successful, they have. But some don't. And guess what? If we're going to keep growing, if we're going to keep being able to serve the customers that we're going to serve, we're going to have to lean into being a little bit different magnet for everybody that we have. This isn't me, but I know that this is what will move you forward, so I'm going to do it. Again, it sounds great to just attract the people that work just like us, doesn't it? I mean, that just sounds like, all right, they get it. They're doing exactly what I want. This is awesome. If anybody's had that experience, congrats. I haven't found that. Because guess what? We're all a little bit different. We all view the world a little bit different, but it goes back to the beginning. We would all agree on the qualities that it takes to be successful. That would be maybe a little bit of variance, but my guess is that would just be in vocabulary. Because a lot of the stuff that you need to be successful, that you need to do to excel, it's all the same, right? And you guys know that. But how do we transform ourselves into being a little bit different for everybody else? Andrew talked about it last week, the law of intuition. Sometimes you just got to know, right? You just got to have that feel. And you develop that feel by getting to know your team. By knowing that Susie's motivated by money, and Billy's motivated by pats on the back, and Roger really just wants to spend time with his family. And all of these things, everybody is different. And that's okay. That's what makes this so fun. It's uncomfortable because you got to be the person that your team needs. You got to be the person that each individual team member needs. And that's tough, right? I can guarantee you, if you would have known me when I first started in this, I wouldn't be sitting up here. I took a speech class in college. I was awful. Awful. I may not be any good now, but hell, we're doing it. But again, I knew that that is the person that I need to be. If I had my way, I would sit in my office with my door closed and just work on stuff. I'm an introvert by nature. I don't necessarily like going out and meeting new people. I've got basically the same friends that I've had since 5th grade. Not meeting a lot of newbies, all right? That's who I am. I'm sorry. I like people, but I'm just not comfortable going up and striking up a conversation. But I know that a lot of the people that I work with, if I sat in my office all day with the damn door closed, guess what? It wouldn't be a very good place to work. So who do you need to be for everybody? It's tough, right? Like, God, I got to be someone different for everybody on the team. Yeah, you do. I've given you the example so many times of my kids, right? I went through it this morning. How I show up for my kids is the response that I get back. Now, it's my belief that they should hop up, get ready, let's do it, follow direction. We brush our teeth every morning. I don't understand why this is such a big deal. You go to the bathroom, brush your hair, let's go, let's get our shoes on, let's get the book bag, let's roll. But that ain't how they roll. I don't understand it. It bothers me to no end. I'm like, let's go. We got this. Nothing. But when I lean in and I maybe wake them up 5 minutes earlier because they don't know the difference anyway, and we give them a little bit more time, we watch a little Barbie or Trash Truck or whatever, whoever gets up first gets to pick. When we do that and we just kind of go and I don't push them and all of that stuff, they magically just wander on out the door. I'm like, what the hell happened? Well, again, I need to be someone different for them. I can't be as militant as I'd like to be. Because we need to get out the door. Think about that with your team. Yes, the whole wake up early, be on time, get this done, boom, 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 boom. Now, how do we do that, right? It's like, okay, well, how do I connect with all of these different personalities? We connect by not coming at people on our team to try to prove how smart we are, how much smarter we are than them. Guess what? No one likes that. Try it with your significant other. Great test case. Actually, don't try it. Just take my word for it. It doesn't work, okay? Don't do that. But then think about it with your team. If you came to your significant other and were just trying to prove how smart or how right you were, how would that work out? Not great. What works? What works is coming to someone from a place of trying to understand. If they don't possess these qualities, or more so, if they agree with them but don't possess them or don't want to lean into those, we as leaders need to figure out, we need to understand why it is that they don't want to do that. My guess is it's uncomfortable. That's not how I was raised. That's not how it was at the place I worked before. I've had success doing it this way, right? You've heard them all. You've heard all the things about why people wouldn't want to change. But we need to understand why. And that's why I've been so excited about some of the things that I've been hearing about with the words breakthrough, and we're really going to work with, because that is coming through a place of understanding. That is taking a situation that didn't go right, or didn't go how we thought it should go, or didn't align with the qualities that we think are going to be successful, and we dug in. We didn't just give up. We didn't avoid them. Oh, God, I don't really want to talk to him. Rather than, hey, man, come here. Like, it seems like, are you going through a rough, like, what's going on? You seem off. Help me understand. Like, I just want to be there for you, but it feels like there's a little bit of tension here. How do we break through that? Is there anything I can help with? And oftentimes, what do they say? No, I'm fine. Oh, no, I'm fine. That's your cue to keep digging, to keep supporting. And that doesn't mean pepper them with more questions. That may just mean shooting them a text later in the afternoon. Hey, man, awesome job. Just want to let you know I was thinking about you. Enjoyed our conversation this morning. If there ever is a time when you need to get something off your chest, I'm here for you. More than happy to listen. And guess what? They may show up tomorrow with the same shitty attitude. Because as humans, we carry a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily want to share. And why is it that we don't want to share it? Because it makes us vulnerable. And that's okay. And we have to understand that as leaders is, hey, I may not want to share that either. And that's okay. They don't need to spill their whole life to you. But what they need to know is that you understand that they may be going through a rough time. They may have hit a rough patch. Their performance may be down, but you're there to support them. What do we talk about in the first one of these? They need to know that you want their success as much or more than they do. And when they know that, again, it's not automatic. It takes time, right? It takes time to develop a relationship. But with the law of magnetism, we are going to attract those that feel that we understand them. That we understand that they are different. We understand that they may view things differently. But if we all understand that the qualities that we would find in a high performer and a leader are roughly all the same, then it's just about connecting with that person. And it may show up a little bit differently. And that's perfectly fine. I think the one important thing to remember is that oftentimes when a person goes from an individual contributor to a leader, or goes from leading a small team to a big team, we often want to over-index in how smart we are. Think about a conversation, if you've ever went into one, and before the meeting, you're like, I got all the evidence. I've got all the data. I've got everything. Wait till I go into this meeting and show this person how frickin' smart I am. I'm going to show them you missed this day, and you did this, and you did that, and look at me, I didn't. Anybody ever done that? I have. Because it makes you feel good, right? Makes you feel real good. Like, got him. Right? But what if we went into that meeting? Because you ain't going to be real magnetized with that type of attitude. Agreed? You're going to propel a lot of stuff. You're going to be trying to match positive with positive and negative with negative. We all know what happens with a magnet. It ain't going to click. What if we went in trying to understand why we had the data that we did? What if we went into that meeting trying to help that person get rid of that data, as opposed to putting it in their face to show them how smart we are? Because at the end of the day, you're not super smart. Because your goal as a leader is to make a connection. Your goal as a leader is to grow somebody. Now, that's not to say that tough conversations can't be had. But how are you coming to that? That tough conversation, if it comes from a place of trying to understand, why is your conversion rate so low? What are you struggling with? How can I help you? What can we do? Now, the important thing to remember is if we have approached conversations coming from, let me show you how smart I am, it will take time to make that connection. So don't throw my stuff to the wind going, well, I've always approached it like that. I did what he said, and the person still hasn't responded. Like, well, no shit. You've conditioned them to feel the other way. So it's going to take time to break through those walls. And that's okay. That's part of learning. None of us we didn't come out as perfect leaders. We're all growing and figuring things out. And shoot, I goofed on this one, but hey, I'm going to get better over here, and all of that stuff. You know, I was sitting in a meeting with a leader and an individual contributor, and I was so proud of the leader because all they said was, you know what, I've probably messed this up, and I'm learning, and I'm trying to get better every day, and you need to know that I'm learning just as much as you are, and we're going to get through this together because I want you to be successful. And I was like, enough said. I don't even know why I'm in here. That was perfect. I'm learning just as much as you are, because we are. Just because you're the leader doesn't mean you need to have all the damn answers. It doesn't mean you need to be perfect. It doesn't mean that we need to show everybody else how perfect we are. We need to work to understand where people are and how do we move them forward. It's going to be different for everybody. That's the hard part. That's kind of what you signed up for. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But what you will find is when you come from a place of understanding, when you break through with that person, who's ever had someone on your team that you had cast away, they were banished, going to be terrible, they were going to be the worst, and then one day you're like, holy shit, they're really kicking some butt. Like, What happened? Well, what you overlooked was there was probably a connection made with a conversation that you had that you finally got through, right? That you finally broke through with that person. And you may not have even intended to do it. That's the interesting thing about leadership, is sometimes you don't even know why something turned, why someone finally got it. But the important thing to remember is keep doing it. My guess is you came from a place of understanding, trying to figure out, how do I get through to this person? I want them to be successful. I don't want to have to go find another person. So I'm going to keep working with them. I'm going to keep just going after it, and we're going to break through. Everyone has crappy qualities, right? Everyone in this room has crappy qualities. I've got plenty myself. I don't like when people don't listen. I don't like when people don't move fast. I don't like when people waller around in the morning. It's my family. They're just like, come on, let's go. Come on, we got this. But again, I can't be that person because none of them are ever going to listen to me then. But the special thing about leadership is when you make those efforts, when you make those connections, when you do those hard things, trying to figure out why someone who's not like you at all suddenly is kicking butt and taking names. That is why we do what we do. Because if you think about some of your proudest moments as a leader, my guess is it's not hitting budget in Q1 of this quarter. It's not having a record day. It's the people on your team that were here and now they're here, and you work together to get there. And now someone is doing something that they didn't really dream of, couldn't even fathom over here, that they are doing right now, and you have a small piece of that. Yes, you may not be going on the vacation to Disneyland with them. They probably weren't going to invite you. But knowing that your help brought them here and that they're going to get to go do that, I don't know about you, but that is the special part of what we do. As we always talk about, we do the work. We put in the furnaces, the water heaters, the electrical panels. But at the end of the day, we are in the business of selling service, of people. That is our product. People. Andrew sent me something from, what was that? Jeff Bezos the other day, last week, 2 weeks ago. And Bezos was interviewed, and this had to have been early on in Amazon. And he said, we're not in the business of selling things. Now that's a pretty bold statement for someone who is worth, I mean, my God, 300 billion or something crazy like that. Amazon does however much business a year. He said, we're not in the business of selling something. We're in the business of helping people make buying decisions. And that hit me like, oh shit, that's what we're in the business of doing too. Helping people make buying decisions. So we can know as much about a furnace and air conditioner and water heater and how to plumb a house and electrical schematics and all of this stuff. We can know as much as we want about that. But if we truly are in the business of helping customers make buying decisions, then we have to act on the law of magnetism. We have got to be a magnet for our people. We've got to attract great people. We've got to take those who may not want to lean into those qualities, and we've got to be a different type of magnet for them. Because that is what we're in the business of doing.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to get connected, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. As always, keep growing out there.